Hello and welcome to my blog. It's lovely to see you again. So this is live on shorehambeach.blogspot.com. This week I'm going to talk about the visual impact of, potential visual impact of the Rampion offshore wind farm proposal. But before I do that, I'd like to tell you about a brief visit we made onto the South Downs this Sunday to look for butterflies. We went on a butterfly talk to see the various types of butterflies that are unique to the South Downs, but sadly, because the weather was so dingy, we didn't see any. We saw a couple of moths, and that was about it. But it was wonderful to go up there and be renewed of the beauty of the South Downs. I'm going to talk about it, the application, in more detail today, because now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of what the application will actually mean to us as residents. Now, the application is for either 4 megawatt turbines or 7 megawatt turbines. Now, on here, you won't be able to see the detail of it on here, but this essentially is the smallest one, which is a 3 megawatt turbine. And that, from the bottom to the top, stands at 419 feet, give or take a couple of inches. The application is for one that's slightly bigger than that but hasn't been shown in their documentation, which is for a 4 megawatt wind turbine. The application is also for 7 megawatt wind turbines, approximately 100 of those. Okay, it's called a 7 MW class wind turbine, and the height of that from bottom to top is 564 feet. Putting that in context, Shoreham Power Station chimney is 350 feet tall, so that 7 megawatt wind turbine is almost double the size of the chimney at Shoreham Power Station. What's been done is an assessment of the potential impact on the landscape, seascape and visual amenity. And by visual amenity, it's an assessment of how sensitive visual receptors would be to the proposed development. Now, visual receptor was a term I introduced in my previous blog, and essentially visual receptors are members of the public. They have assessed that over the entire wind farm area, so that's 17 miles running from Worthing to approximately Peacehaven, the impact on the seascape and landscape and our attitude towards that is what they categorise as large or medium. Brighton fits into the large category, and Worthing tends to fit into more the medium to large category. Right, so what does large mean? Right, well, I'm going to read it directly from here. The development will form a prominent seascape/landscape element or will result in a substantial alteration to key seascape/landscape characteristics. For us, what we would see that the development will form a prominent element within the view, resulting in a prominent change to the quality and character of the view. They summarise it as the development will be striking or standing out. That's the definition of large. The definition of medium is the development will form a conspicuous rather than prominent seascape or landscape element, or will result in a partial loss or alteration to key seascape/landscape characteristics. The effect on us as local residents is that development will form a conspicuous element within the view, resulting in a conspicuous change to the quality and character of the view. It will be noticeable, distinct, clearly visible and well defined. And they have said that the viewer at beach level will see 173 metre height of a turbine at 15 kilometres. 173 metres is 567 feet. So that is 1.5 times the height of Shoreham Power Station. And we will see that at 15 kilometres. The distance from Worthing, Shoreham and Brighton and Hove, Rottingdean and Saltdean and Peacehaven is 14 kilometres, so less than 8 miles away. And that's the view from 15 kilometres away. 567 feet of turbine will be visible from a viewer at beach level. A viewer higher up, for example on the cliffs of Beachy Head, will see even more because they've got an elevated view. They will be looking down onto the wind farm, so they will see the full height of the turbine to the furthest reaches of the wind farm, up to 43 kilometres away. What the report says about Brighton Promenade is that 81% of the turbines will be visible for 276 days of the year. That area is an area where there's lots of sea-facing hotels and bed and breakfasts, and a lot of people will walk along the prom looking out onto the sea there. And because of that, we will be highly sensitive to a change in the vista. So what they have said is that the magnitude of change on the landscape and the seascape is large. It will be a striking development and it will stand out, and we will be acutely aware of that because of our own sensitivity about that view. Right, let's look at Worthing Promenade. If I can find it. Yes, there we are. Right, 100% of the turbines will be visible for 278 days of the year. But here, the effect is meant to be major stroke moderate, which means that rather than being a striking development, for those people that see it, it will just be a conspicuous element of the landscape and seascape. So it will be noticeable, well defined, and a distinct development. So let's look at what they say about Shoreham. Now, it says here that the hub height, and when we're talking about a hub height, so we go back to our diagrams of the turbines here, just taking this large one, this 7 megawatt turbine here, you'll see you've got the tower here, going up here, and there, if you can see, you've got the hub there, which is also known as a nacelle. Okay, so it's because of that hub height, there is a potential that the proposed development will be visible from the majority of the settlement area. And the settlement area here is defined as Shoreham, South Wickham, Portslade. So because of that hub height, most of us could see it. The greatest capacity for views of the proposed development will be from seafront properties on Shoreham Beach, and from inland elevated residential properties along the northern edge of the settlement area. So we're looking at Mill Hill, Slonk Hill, and any of the raised areas as you go along that sort of border or get close to the South Downs National Park. Now, if you'd like to look into the visual impact yourself, you need to go to the Rampion website. I will provide links, but you need to go to the Rampion website, go to the environmental impact assessment, download that document. It is very large, but download aspects of or bits of that document you want to look at. I've been quoting from chapter 12, that is 111 pages long, and there is also a related chapter 26 which deals with a lot more of the inland effects of the proposal as well. So they'll be looking at what the views will be round about Bolney substation and how the local people will be affected by that. Well, next week I'll be looking at the potential noise impact of the development on us local residents. We change our names in that chapter from visual receptors to onshore receptors. So that's who I'll be talking about next week. Thank you very much for popping by. It's good to see you again. I hope you have a very good week, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Take care. Bye.